over it.
We need to quit doing this and learn a trade.
Yeah.
All of us.
I'm good.
Cancel man's coming. Yeah, you are. I'm
Chuck
not.
learned a trade. Chuck got a job. All right, we'll do the stuff. Cool. Here we go. All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my friends through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Chuck Anderson.
Hey now.
And with John Burr.
Good afternoon, not evening, boys.
Good afternoon on this American holiday, commonly known as July the 5th / Independence Day observed.
Hey, boy.
Although my trash man did not observe the holiday.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but we are such disgusting consumers that missing a monthly trash and recycling pickup is akin to like...
Oh, wait, you missed your monthly recycling?
Oh, yes!
No, that's...
Like, my life is over. My life is over. I can't come back. It's over. We got to move!
You live in plastic now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of... This is how Waterworld... This is the beginning of Waterworld.
How many recycle bins do you have, though? Because, like, they will... Yeah.
Two. Well, I've got mine
two. The max?
And then I've got my neighbor's recycling bins that I put my fast food trash in.
Most fast food trash not recyclable. You're not really
can't.
But this is a good hiding place.
Yeah, it is a good hiding. No, that's amazing that the Public Works came on Monday, July 5th. They take no break, and you missed your one shot to get your recyclables taken. Now you're gonna have to just pile up the cardboard at the street.
I'm effed. It feels like a mortar shell to the chest. I am not doing well.
Too soon? I mean,
I don't know. Somebody had to have caught one last night.
The NHL, but a hockey player died.
It's awful.
Whoa.
By a firework.
He got shot. This is how you're going out, Chuck. He got shot in the chest with a mortar sitting in a hot tub at a party.
A professional North American athlete died.
And they tried to cover it up, so I think they were shooting mortars at each other.
God.
The police already lied and said he slipped and fell running from mortar shells.
Yeah.
And hit his
head. We're going to find out that Kobe really died shooting mortar shells at each other from helicopters.
It was a nightmarish fourth. Also, this July 5th day after, does this feel... I don't want to take away a holiday from those people who get this holiday, but this feels more superfluous than most. Maybe that's just related to a year of pandemic lifestyle. This Monday, July 5th doesn't feel that much different than
I understand
previous
this
Mondays.
One just by looking at my street. This is clean up fireworks mess day.
Okay. That makes
because it is just like ticker tape parade, but like stomped cigarettes level stuff everywhere.
It's all over the world. It's in every street in America. Everybody bought $1 million worth of fireworks. And it's not like it's in rich neighborhoods. It's in poor neighborhoods. They were going off at like 3 a.m. People got in last night. Nobody.
I have a question for you guys. I feel like you will know. How much does it cost? How much does like one firework cost that is like a big firework? Like one that you could like a residential.
Real quick interjection.
Yeah.
Keith, do you know how much a banana costs? Yeah. No? Okay, moving on.
$100.
No,
yeah, Chuck is correct. One big firework is $100 to $200.
Like
one of the big.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, so I got 3 for $33 or each. So I paid $100, 3 for $100 in Goshen, Indiana, and I think the market there was a little depressed.
I didn't know if the market was depressed. And I'm talking about a firework where you fire from your home. It takes maybe 4 seconds to hit apex or up in the air, 3 seconds, and then it makes a pretty big thud
with a big
thunder blast.
Yeah. I might be speaking out of turn, but I think Chuck may have worked for, or at the very least lived with, the preeminent fireworks vendor in the Middle Tennessee area, one Joseph Ash.
Oh, that is a great fireworks man name.
That's correct. That is what happened.
And fireworks tragedy is rampant. Joseph Ash's life story is madness. He burnt down his family's farmhouse.
So I was wondering about the cost of fireworks because my guess was I was like $50 to $100 per pop is kind of what I was thinking for like these bigger fireworks.
So you can get expensive ones, but I was told by a reputable dealer that the bang for your bucks in your $25 to $30 big one, they go about 7 to 20 seconds long.
Okay.
And I got one. It was called the Irish Legend.
Okay. For your heritage.
Yes, I got
For the
one.
culture.
It was called the Matrix. And it had all the Matrix like squiggles on it.
At the end of it, you become a libertarian.
You mean it had streams of numbers? It had those green number streams?
The green numbers on the black. And then the third one I got in the name of Britney Spears. It's called Drive Me Crazy. And that was the Free Britney thing was kind of popping when I bought them. So it's still popping, I guess. But yeah, they were probably like, they last, I felt like I got $30 worth of fireworks out of them, but that was like a month ago. I just happened to come across a vape shop / CBD store / fireworks vendor in northern Indiana.
So I was wondering about the prices of these things because this July 4th weekend, I drove to visit my sister and her family, and my parents came and my brother and his family came, and we were right outside of Cincinnati. We were in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, and on July 2nd, we're talking Friday night, July 2nd, one of their neighbors, like, I don't know, less than 100 feet away, started launching these mortar blasts. Yeah. And it was like, wow, we get front row seats to this firework display. But this firework display lasted for a solid 30 minutes where, I mean, it's not a professional thing where it would take them, 45 seconds between shot. But I was like, they put up.
I'm thinking $500.
No. Well, like you guys are saying, if it's say I'm getting 3 for 100. Okay. They put up it like 100 of these things. Like
they could have
like $3,000.
I feel like once you start doing that, you're buying in bulk and you start getting more bang.
Okay.
Bang for your bulk.
The literal bang for your bulk.
Yeah. I feel like you can put on a pretty amazing show for $500.
I mean, I was just wondering, is this pandemic savings? Is this this is why we don't need these stimulus checks, gentlemen.
This is my
stimulus. No, that stimulus went to the what was the guy's name? Joseph Ashes of the world?
Joe Ash.
Joe Ash.
Joe Ash.
It went toward the firework vendors of the world. Because I mean, I'd never seen such a spectacular. This is a person's house. Just like, hey, I'm gonna light these off because America. And I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you guys travel at all for the holiday weekend?
Me and Burr went to a wedding yesterday, and I watched him sing "Diamonds in the Stream."
Islands.
Both parts?
That one. Islands in the Stream. No, it was a 3-part song with 3 people who were in the wedding party.
See, not many people realize that's actually a Bee Gees song. So that's
a Bee Gees song. There are 3 parts.
Oh yeah.
I have video. I'm going to post it on the Slack. This is a real reason for you to join Patreon this month. You will see John Burr in a puke yellow velvet.
Let's go with crushed coat. Velvet. Homage to Elvis Presley's comeback special. Golden suit.
Okay, cool.
But
I think
will
it looked
take
like
puke.
pee. It looked like baby puke after too many like butternut squash Gerbers. But yeah, I have a video of that. I'm going to put it on the internet for our subscribers. So you should get behind that paywall if you haven't yet. It's the finals. Come and give us some paywall love behind the Patreon wall at patreon.com/Fastbreak.
Yeah, that's a great transition to us thanking our new patrons. We have a few new patrons. Bruno Passos, George Torres, Antonis Papadopoulos. Very fun to say.
2 names I enjoy.
I can't remember if I already thanked Dave Brown and Justin Mancari. If I did, hey, welcome again. Thanks for joining again. Also, patrons, if you're playing our Stone Cold Locks challenge, make sure you fill out the finals Stone Cold Locks entry. You have to pick, obviously, is it going to be Suns or Bucks? How many games are you going to lock it? And there's a twist. If you're behind a little bit, you're not out of it yet because we also let you predict the finals MVP. You can risk your points to pick the Finals MVP. If you're winning, like if you're Liam right now and you're beating everybody with 50 points, maybe you don't want to risk trying to predict the Finals MVP. Also, shout out to the standings of the Stone Cold Locks. Liam in first, Gooey Gouda in second, Sarah D in third, and then a three-way tie for fourth. We're talking Joe Utes, Grizz Tony, and Drew. So it's a wide open race, but make sure you guys go to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast and fill out the final form, and we'll figure out who wins the big grand prize. By the way, Jon and Chuck, this Finals MVP race, is it the most open race?
No.
Ever? I feel like last year it was either like 80 or LeBron. We thought either 80 or LeBron, but like this year,
Giannis or Chris Paul.
Whatever.
The narrative is strong with CP3.
Well, so Chris Paul's the betting favorite, which just lets you all you need to know about sports coverage, that it's narrative based. But
there it is.
I mean, Giannis is plus 350.
That's good money right there.
The obvious narrative there. Best case for him is him not playing game one and they lose.
Oh,
and then you put some money down on Giannis.
Imagine getting like a plus 400-ish line on Giannis Antetokounmpo in his first finals. That's delicious.
But then imagine you watch the entire finals and he plays 0 minutes.
But that's the only way you're getting a number like that, because he's usually going to be like minus something.
We have CP3 at plus 170, he is the favorite, and then Booker is plus 250. Giannis plus 350, Middleton plus 550. Are you guys prepared to say who you would pick for Finals MVP this early in the show?
Well, in our Stone Cold Locks, I did take the Suns in 4 guy for MVP. I really like that Giannis bet quite a bit. I think. Did you say Devin Booker's?
Devin Booker's plus 250, so he's the second best favorite.
I mean, I think that's where I would store my change. Yeah, I think I would take those 2 bets. I mean, I do enjoy a good Chris Middleton bet, depending on the number, but I'm not gonna. The Chris Paul number's too inflated, despite the narrative, so I'm just not gonna touch it.
Well, I mean, our Suns, that's basically saying I think the number for Chris Paul is wrong. Like plus 170. When the Suns are basically the opposite of that to win the series, like they're minus 200 to win. So it's like you're saying he has to win, and then you get no other odds bonus essentially for Chris Paul winning. Chuck, what were you saying?
I'm going with Pat Connaughton. I think he's a lock.
It's not bad. Well, I mean, you can go the one I like if you want some longer odds. Brooke Lopez is 15,000 to 1.
I think you could see a huge Brooke Lopez series.
I mean, he's been amazing.
He's been incredible.
He's been a difference maker.
Yeah, he's been.
And if
let's say Holiday's number.
Yeah.
So the Drew is plus 1,200. Ayton is plus 2,500. Mikal Bridges better odds than Brooke Lopez. Mikal Bridges plus 12,500.
I'm touching that Drew Holiday number because he's got some bonuses built into his contract if they win that are pretty lucrative.
Oh,
we're talking about like an extra $1 million or something like that, or at least 250 G's.
Yeah, and he probably has already given it all away. I feel like he donated almost his entire salary this year.
Wowzers.
That man plays for a different calling. Anyway, we can do breakfast. We haven't done breakfast. Chuck, what was your breakfast today?
I fasted today, so I haven't had breakfast. I'm just not eating today. But I did have a fantastic breakfast yesterday of granola and yogurt, vegan yogurt and granola. John got to watch me eat for the first time in a long time yesterday. We sat at the same table.
Not as advertised, folks.
How'd that go?
Pretty old school Chuck, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I was like
the veil might have been lifted.
I saved all of my calories for that meal. So I was ravished. Also, I needed to
so I'm sorry. Alternated bites of fried chicken with "I'm just the worst vegan."
Yeah,
so you
apologizing.
So John, you confused me, and I'm worried the listener. I thought you were saying you watched Chuck eat granola and vegan yogurt. And
no.
No, you saw an actual wedding feast where he went nuts and let all the calories go.
Yeah,
it appeared like the Chuck of old. I still haven't seen any of this veganese consumed in person. This could be an elaborate act.
I do try. And I said I tried. Everybody made fun of me for saying I try to be vegan. This is like, I don't understand the
It's funny when you say it while you're eating fried chicken, Chuck.
Yes, while I'm literally like ripping all of the flesh off of a bone, I say I'm trying, and I am trying, and one day I'll be good at it. But just like today, I'm not.
Today has not.
If you lean into the veganism for like moral reasons, eating food still on the bone really makes it more difficult to.
No, but in my head, it's like, look, I didn't order it. It was already killed. Why? It would be really a shame if no one ate it. So I did take the very last chicken wing off of the table because it was going to get thrown out.
It was pretty great for me to finally have like the shoe on the other foot, because it's typically like my girlfriend is the one who's just like shaking her head no vigorously the entire time I'm doing things. And in this instance, as Chuck is making all these vegan protestations, his girlfriend's just like, he eats whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Like, as he's saying all these things that he's doing, he's just she's like in the background, just disputing all of it. It was, and I was like, so this is what it feels like to be around me and my old lady. Fascinating.
John, what was your breakfast?
So I was delivered by my exiting parents. They're leaving me alone with the child now. But they did drop off some of the famous and last real breakfast spots in Nashville, the East Nashville Biscuit House. They dropped off some biscuits from
Biscuit House.
So I had an assortment of different kind of like blank egg and cheese biscuits, and they were quite good.
It sounds wonderful. I took my kids to the great American establishment in honor of this Independence Day observed. We went to Krispy Kreme right when it opened.
Hey now.
We got a 2 glazed, 2 chocolate covered. My kids saw the picture of a bunch of patriotic themed donuts, like they had some red ones with sprinkles and some blue ones that had little stars on them, and they were like, oh, they've got some red ones, and I'm like, guys, we've learned this specific Krispy Kreme never has the featured seasonal donuts. We're not even gonna try to order them because they're just gonna say we don't have that. We're just gonna go with the basics, and then we did. It was a minor wait. As they fulfilled the very simple order. There was a lot of conversation happening between every order, which is fine, I guess. It's maybe a throwback to a more personable America where you went into the general store and you had a conversation and you knew who you were talking to. When it was my turn at the window, I exchanged the pleasantries, had a little conversation, replaced my order because they didn't know what it was, and then paid. And that's how we celebrated our July 5th. And again, the kids, their review was, these donuts were smaller than I thought they'd be. So my children are also very much American. Anyway, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we moved to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong in a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, although we already talked about the finals MVP. Look at us.
Whoa.
Anyway, is there anything that you guys need to make right?
I mean, I guess it's like a litany of apologies for me, because everything I said last week kind of exploded in my face, not unlike so many fireworks. I could do Chris Paul, but I feel like I qualified that and said that it was stupid while I was saying it, to wonder if the Suns could possibly be more successful as he recovered from COVID. But I don't have an excuse for my constant trudging over the corpse of one Milwaukee Bucks franchise. So it's just time. And Buds, I mean, it kind of speaks to the difficulty of catering your entire strategic, like everything you're doing to one player who wants to do something, which is Giannis, who wants to play a certain way, wants to play a certain role. And then you get to see Buds actually do some pretty good coaching with his best player out, just because he has a lot more flexibility. So I have to apologize to Buds and the Bucks. Like they were able to, easily overcome missing their best player and show why they're a team that has dominated the past 2 regular seasons. So there you have it, Milwaukee.
I'm so happy for the Bucks because they had so much success the past couple seasons. Obviously, like all these like historic offensive rating and defensive rating, and they're being the 1 seed so frequently, and then experiencing these really painful defeats where they fell way short. But then also like where I'm happy for them because like it justifies they've had this long run of success, and like this also goes to some weird thing I had where I feel like finals teams need to be earned, and I feel like I would have been like weirdly offended if the Hawks somehow made the finals because they're not good enough to make the finals. That's not right. But the Bucks finally getting there, but like the fortunate way that it all kind of broke for them. I know we give Bud a lot of credit for shortening his rotation, for playing his guys tons of minutes, for being like, listen, Drew Holiday.
It's hard to give him credit because when he shortened his rotation, he cut Bobby Portis out of it.
Well, but he tries something. We hammered him for so long about like, why is Giannis playing 38 minutes? Why is Middleton playing 39 minutes? And It's all like 44 minutes, 45 minutes. He basically played 6 guys the last 2 games. I mean, he still played Jeff Teague a little bit, but it was just Pat Connaughton.
Jeff Teague revenge game. How can you not?
Oh man. And the game 6, so many good revenge games. Well, just the, Jeff Teague, where he was an all-star, showing off in front of the Atlanta fans, knocking out some threes. But like, I'm happy for the Bucks. I am happy for Bud that he gets this. But it's like, if James Harden's hamstring was healthy, he's fired. Like he's gone.
Yeah.
He's fired, and then it's like, oh, but now I guess he's a good coach because he made the finals. Or when they were down, if Trae Young doesn't get hurt, if Trae Young doesn't step on a referee's foot.
Yeah, this is one of the most insane butterfly effect, like playoffs will ever have. And the dominoes are continuing to fall. The dominoes will fall into next season. Like a lot of these teams had much different plans before this offseason happened.
Yeah, I mean,
now their plans are forever changed.
Like we would have had this Chauncey Billups hiring nightmare maybe 3 years ago if Terry Stotts had lost in Game 7 to the Nuggets as opposed to beating the Nuggets in Game 7, which essentially like kept Terry Stotts' job back then, and we could have thrown some weird sexual allegation. I don't know what's the proper term where you've ignored a sexual allegation, cover up, just constant changing of subject.
The patriarchy. That's what
the patriarchy. All right. Yeah.
I think that's just effective
America
marketing strategy.
That's America.
Yeah.
America. The world.
That's what we built this country on. Our forefathers dreamed of. Chuck, what is your apology?
I'm apologizing to Scottie Pippen. I haven't said anything about him, but he seems angry and I want to stay out of his way. So he's going after Barkley, Jordan. Of course, he called Phil Jackson racist the other week, which I'm not sure if he is or not, but if Scotty says he is, sorry, Scotty, you're right. Whoever's racist is racist these days. I don't get in anyone's way when they're called that.
There's enough to Phil Jackson's name where it's hard to.
There's
only so far you can go.
Didn't he call LeBron's entourage of thugs or something?
Posse, he called him the posse, but like he wrote a book.
Which was a great movie.
He wrote a book in the 1970s.
Shout out Mario Van Peebles.
It's hard to pull things from different eras, but like he has a pretty long list of like, oh, that doesn't read very well, or that's not okay. So I mean, Pippen.
Do you remember when they tried to bring in like Tony Kukoc as like a white savior to replace Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan? Come on, where there's smoke, there's fire, and in this case, it's dank ass Crippy.
Well, that's what that's what Pippen was saying, that he was the final play on that notorious Kukoc game winner was because maybe Jackson was racist. I don't know. I do know. Yes, we should probably steer clear of Pippen, who's on a book tour.
Good marketing, like we've said before.
I mean, he kind of came out like 50 Cent, like he's just picking fights because he knows it sells. Like
I'm ready for Scottie Pippen diss track.
Yes, I would. Please sign me up. But it is a very. I'm sure this is like a play, like a play out of the 48 Laws of Power book. That
some
you gotta
Stephen R.
like
Covey stuff.
Yeah, if you're like trying to increase your influence, you have to start taking shots at the greatest player of all time and say that you were the real leader of the team. Like that's what he's quoted.
Scotty.
Yeah.
Scotty Avelli.
It's so good. My apology. Last week on the full episode, we were talking about a fictional NBA fighting game that would be a delight to create, like an 8-bit or 16-bit arcade style fighting game where the NBA players would be fighting fans. What does James Johnson? We needed an implement. The catch for the exercise was coming with the players and their implements. But
James Johnson and a tattoo gun.
It would be very fun to have the mascots fighting. And I incorrectly called the Spurs Coyote Wile E. Coyote. Obviously, he's not Wile E. Coyote. I mean,
he is a Wile E. Coyote.
He is a Wile E. Yes.
He gets into some tomfoolery and shenanigans.
But I apologize for not getting his name correct. Do you guys know the name of the Spurs Coyote?
Bruce
Sean
Bowen.
Elliott.
The name of the Spurs Coyote is Spurs Coyote.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I guess technically it's the Coyote.
Yeah.
Whew.
So can we give him a real name? What about Peyote Coyote?
There you have it.
I like that. Done. We'll get HEB to sponsor, and that will be a done thing. Anyway, those were our apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, we have a couple listener submitted questions. And this is the part where we find some listener.
I have them.
Questions. You have any good ones about the playoffs?
I have like a jokey question about Steve Ballmer. And then I have like a Tyronn Lue one, and they're both out. So maybe I should pick something else.
Yeah, let's keep the Ballmer's just, is he made of cocaine? Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not what I'd call funny, but
I've been scrolling for a while.
Oh geez. We should answer Noob Cybot, right?
Okay, I thought that was kind of like overly specific, maybe for a
that's an inside joke that we can explain.
I feel like that's better answered on a Patreon one, maybe. Hold on, I'll find.
Let's keep looking. Why are these so good?
What about this PJ Tucker one? Is PJ Tucker the best career defender to never be on an all defense team?
I feel like that takes so much research to be able to answer that correctly. That's actually why I've been avoiding it. Because like I don't who knows who made all defensive teams without looking it up. Like I don't know that off the top of my head.
I don't either.
Ben Simmons, I mean that's something. It's not finalsy, but
just going all the way back to who
what can you trade Ben Simmons for to fix my poor Philadelphia 76ers? I feel like it's been
let's make up a question.
Okay. How about we revisit the feeling Minnesota when CP3 is retired? Which team will you associate him with?
That's great.
Yeah, because this is
and then go ahead and do the Noob Cybot one. I don't mind explaining that inside joke.
Sure.
Okay.
So we're going to revisit a really good question from June 14th that we answered in a certain fashion that I now think we need to answer yet again. Feeling Minnesota asks, when CP3 is retired, which team will you associate him with? We answered this question. None of us said the Suns. None of us considered the Suns. Yeah. And now I think it's under consideration. Keith, will you think of him and the Suns run? I might.
I think if they fulfill their destiny of being the prohibitive favorites and win the title, you suddenly start thinking of him as a Sun. But we still have to see if he leaves. Like, is he going to the Knicks or is he going to try to find a way to play with somebody else? You think if he wins the title, he's going to stay in Phoenix. You know, maybe he likes the lifestyle there. He try to defend the title.
A lot of players do.
You know, maybe that does become, it probably becomes that it is the Phoenix Suns. But yeah, I mean, the recency bias is so strong and it's so glaring. It's like having a streamer light right in your face, and then trying to look past it.
I feel like I'm very good at, my immune system is pretty darn good with recency bias. However, that Chris Paul elimination game performance is one of the all-time great performances in NBA history, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be hard for me to forget that he did that wearing a Suns uniform.
He looked unbelievable.
This is going to spoil my best, but he went full. He's Chris Paul Creasy from Man on Fire for me now. He defeated them on the court, off the court, in their minds, in their mind's eye, spiritually, mentally, physically. He didn't just score 41 points. He also willed Pat Beverly out of the game. He
broke Pat Beverly.
Abject destruction.
Beverly got suspended for next season.
He's messing his life up into the future.
And he did it in every aspect. He even did it in the ways that are maddening if you're not a Chris Paul fan. He did all the little things. He took his game and distilled it into its essential form at the most essential moment of his career. Unbelievable.
In sports movie style. He did it in Rocky Final Fight style, where he lost round 2. He lost round 3. He was getting roped into him. He was out of the series.
Yeah.
Done.
Out of the series with the health and safety protocols.
Fat morons like me are questioning if he should have such a large role.
No, but he came back.
Yeah.
He was bricking everything. Game 3, game 4, terrible shooting percentages. Game 5, they got whipped up on. And we thought, it's like, I totally dismissed John's question. Would they be better off with Campaign playing fast? Because he's slowing them down so much.
Right.
But then with all that, coming into a game 6, and then he just does this, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh my God, he's destroying everyone, and this is the best game of his life that he's doing now that he's 36. It was all the sports movies. And they celebrated the post game was as if they had won it all.
Right.
Is that a bad sign? I mean, we saw
the
Lakers
did that. But the Lakers did that last year too.
The Monty Williams clip telling him like you don't have to calm down. He's like, I can't calm down.
Nah.
You don't have to calm down.
You don't have to.
It's amazing.
And then he apologized for cursing, which has to make Keith's heart just shine.
Listen, I was taught as a child not to curse, and I didn't. The end. Full story.
I mean, to me, it's still Hornets.
Yeah.
But it's probably Suns too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the Suns have leaped over his really memorable Clippers and Thunder stints in one short season. It's just hard to believe because it's more so than like, if we're not talking about Scottie Pippen on the Blazers here. We're talking about, a team that hasn't made the playoffs in a decade suddenly being finals favorites.
And it's not Ray Allen on the Heat because he was the most important player on the court in an elimination game.
We thought that this was a role change, but it's not a role change. He through that game was able to become, finals MVP and centerpiece of the team yet again. So it's hard not for me. That's why I wanted to highlight it. For me, it has changed. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
it's still Clippers for me
too.
But
still
I guess
Clippers,
Clippers. But that's probably my personal history of them facing the Grizzlies so many times. In the
I tried to take some stink off of that because I certainly saw the most Chris Paul during that era.
Yeah, because I didn't see the Chris Paul Hornets games as much. Maybe
it was not possible.
Yeah, I mean, even with League Pass, it's like I'm not always watching the Hornets.
But to me, it's like Chris Paul was best on the Hornets and right now. So that's it. Or the very last game. This final form, Chris Paul, might be the most powerful form, to use Dragon Ball term.
What if we just ignore, we agree to totally ignore the Lob City Clippers? We just erase them from history. We're like,
I'm in. I love it.
DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, they're going to win a title on the Nets next year.
Wow. This might be therapeutic for me.
Or what about the poor Rockets? I mean, you had
Rockets.
I did eliminate that
because I forgot Chris Paul or PJ Tucker are going to win a title before Harden.
Right.
They were on that great Rockets team a couple years ago, and so then you have this Chris Paul run of being on this Rockets team, which could have been a title contender, but they did not win the title. Then he goes to the Thunder. The Thunder want to tank. They end up winning 50 games on accident, essentially, make the postseason. And now he comes to this Suns team where they'd missed the playoffs for 10 consecutive years and are now hosting the NBA Finals. Like that.
You know who?
A 3-year run on different teams that someone has done that with. It makes me now it makes me want him to change teams again to see what would happen.
Kind of.
Come on to Miami, Bubba.
I bet you actually, Keith, I bet you really want him to change teams again.
You know who is really looking forward to people forgetting he was on the Rockets? Tillman Fertitta. Because he said it was the worst contract. The guy who currently has John Wall, he's paying John Wall $90 million over the next couple of seasons, is the worst contract. And now this guy, multiple years in a row, All-Stars, All-NBA, now is going to the finals. Like, what could have happened if they just like brought in Dr. Phil to get Chris Paul and James Harden to hang out together and have some sort of like peaceful coexistence? Because that team would have still this year would have been in the finals.
I thought you meant the racist Phil Jackson. I then I realized it was Dr. Phil. That's my mistake. I'm mishearing there. No, I mean, Tillman Fertitta with this is the worst contract I've ever seen. They
in business. The man who bought Bubba Gump Shrimp Company.
It is weird. Although, like, we like dunking on that quote, but everyone in mainstream basketball analysis called his contract bad over over
we did.
And over, like constantly. Like at some point, I'm sure there's clips of us calling it a bad contract, but like at some point last year we were like, it expires next year and he's all NBA. It's no longer bad. Like you pay for good players. He's a good player. It's also funny, like the Pacers came out recently saying they turned down a Mike Conley trade 2 years ago because they don't pay for albatross contracts. Like the Mike Conley deal was amazing. Mike Conley made the All-Star game last year in the last year of his deal. When the Grizzlies gave Mike Conley that contract, everyone said that's a terrible contract. It turned out to be a good contract. Turns out paying for good players, that's what you're supposed to do. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's weird to build a team when you're like, maybe it's like fantasy basketball where you're like, listen, I don't want to spend all my budget, all my auction budget on one guy. You got to spread that wealth. It doesn't really work that way in actual basketball. Sometimes you have to pay for the best players, but we're getting a little lost. What's another? Let's do one more croissant question.
We're getting esoteric up in here. John asks, where did Tobias Harris's nickname Noob Saibot come from? What does it mean? Is that even how you spell it? John, you spelled it N-O-O-B, correct.
Yeah, noob, yes, got it.
P-S-Y-B-O-T, intrinsically, and very false. It is spelled S-A-I-B-O-T. And the reason for that is, well, let's back up a little bit because this question's really more about me than Tobias Harris. Everyone learns their moral center, their moral values from something in childhood. For Chuck, it was the boys club in the Catholic Church. For Keith, it was the church league basketball officiating courses that he took. For me, it was the video game Mortal Kombat. And if you knew the cheat codes like I did, Abacab, not just a great Genesis album, you could enter in a certain code. It wasn't actually that one, to get a like reverse version of Reptile or Sub-Zero that was just a black figure almost made of like smoke that you could control. And his name was Noob Saibot. And Noob Saibot is the inverse of the programmer's name, which is Tobias Boone. And for some reason, in my mind's eye, the jokes are for me, but the references are really for me. I thought it was okay for me to put out into the world that Tobias Harris is Tobias Boone, therefore Noob Saibot. And the guys were nice enough to let me roll with it. And now I hope I've infected some of your minds. But it's a
great inside joke nickname. You kind of glossed over like the big reveal. Just Tobias backwards is Saibot.
Yes. Oh, right. Sorry.
So that's how you said it in there, but you didn't build up to the big. Here's the reveal.
But that's it. That's it.
And we've been calling him that since he was on the Orlando Magic.
Damn straight.
Like he was like early on Noob
This
Saibot
is probably
days.
the world's only Noob Saibot Tobias Harris fan club.
It is.
Like we really value
we
Tobias.
give permission for other people to call Tobias Harris Noob Saibot.
Go ahead.
But
We're
yeah,
good with it.
you can use it. But yes, it's because Tobias spelled backwards.
Names have meaning.
I do want to I want to chronicle our show and our specific infatuation with Tobias Harris, because I remember this is like a guy that now he's been in the league almost as long as the show's been around. So we've kind of watched him blossom, and I've seen your specific YouTube, your, excitement over him, obsession with him grow over the years. What is the current, where are you guys both now with Tobias Harris? Because I know he kind of got like a lot of this, like the Philly fandom, like hatred this year.
He had a rough playoffs last season where they really turned on him. Yeah.
So where are we at with the new Saibot? Because
here's where I'm at. When Keith brought up Mike Conley's All-Star slot, I was like, Tobias Harris had a better season than him. I get hit undeserving. I know they're not in the same conference or anything, but undeserving. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of linked to
point of order. Trae Young didn't make the Eastern Conference All-Star team either last year. So
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. He's also a Tennessee Volunteer, near and dear to my heart. And like, for better or for worse, he's sort of been a leader on that Sixers team. So I don't know. He's more. This is the most. He's playing for an East Coast big market team and is essential to them. This is the biggest he's been. I'm since Toby and Bobby.
I will also say we've been very consistent, or at least I know I've been consistent over the past couple of years, because like Mike Conley with the contract, like Chris Paul with the contract, Tobias Harris is technically overpaid, but he's a good player. And so everyone's like, when they're listing the worst contracts in the NBA, anytime someone lists Tobias Harris, I'm always yelling, no, that's absolutely wrong. If you're good at basketball, I don't care. You can't have one of the worst contracts.
Right.
You can say he's overpaid, but he's a good player. And
he's a starter.
every time that the Sixers are in distress and their fans are like, oh, we got to trade Ben Simmons, or we got to reset, we got to trade Tobias Harris, I'm the guy with the Grizzlies podcast being like, yeah, I'll take Tobias Harris. I don't care what he's paid. I don't care what he's paid. Like, we're paying the Grizzlies are paying John Moran a rookie scale deal. Everyone else good on their team is underpaid. We can afford to overpay one guy who is a near all-star.
Let's go back to like John Koncak being a bad contract. Bismack Biyombo. Let's go to the players who are bad.
Whiteside.
Right. Unplayable players who are getting $30 million.
Chandler Parsons.
Mozgov. Bang.
Dion Waiters.
Thank you. Most of these guys have been on the Grizzlies.
Jesus. I would say next question, but we don't have a next question.
Jang's contract.
Moving on.
We had a little piece of Miles Plumlee's $12.5 million owed. People forget about. Anyway, those were our listener submitted questions. The Croissant questionnaire. If you want to have your own questions answered on air or as part of our Patreon only shows, the Millennial Brunch Croissant, you got to become a Patreon supporter. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. You can also join in with the numerous games we play. Stone Cold Locks is wrapping up. After that, we will have our free agent summertime game where we try to predict where some of these guys are going to end up. Then again, it's a short off season. Fantasy basketball, fantasy football, everything comes back.
Is there even an off season anymore?
Not really. There actually is a little bit of one. Who knows what we'll do in the month of September besides podcast every single week.
There have been rumblings of a Vegas League meetup.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be in Las Vegas August 8th through probably 12th. So if anyone's out there, feel free to hit me up. But if you want to join
for Keith to invite me,
I don't understand.
I'm going to be waiting.
It's open. The Las Vegas Summer League is available to everyone to come.
Yes.
I need to stow away in your baggage.
Chuck and I made some nice photos a couple years ago.
Where are those? We should post them.
I've got some that I can share. But if you want to join our support, you want to get involved with the Slack channel, play in our games, get bonus content, it's all done at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Hook us up, patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right. Steak and eggs. Best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? Chuck, what's your best thing?
So I'm going to take the big picture here. And the best thing is the uncertainty that lays ahead in the NBA Finals. We don't really know what's going to happen moving forward in the next few games in the NBA Finals that last for like 6 weeks, apparently. Like, we will be playing.
Oh, you mean the literal time elapsed? Yeah, it's like 3 weeks.
It's like Game 7 will be in October, apparently, if it goes there. But it's the unknowns, man. This is the first year since 1971 that the finals have two teams where no player has ever played in the finals. So we don't really know. No player on either team has played in an NBA final.
I mean,
did not know that.
That's not right, because Jay Crowder did last year.
Oh shit.
Okay, start.
Yeah.
Felt real wrong.
So let me tell you,
there's probably more examples too, but I know that.
Is there?
Yeah, I feel like
I thought I read that on Reddit. All right, forgive me.
It's all right.
Let me go back.
You can go back.
I don't even know where to go from. Yeah, so this will be a year where like no superstar, no all-star has made the NBA Finals.
No,
no. Can't go anywhere.
That doesn't
just say it's all. Just say it's wide open. Just say it's wide open. So we're gonna have a new champ. Neither one of these teams have won.
Okay.
You know,
the injuries make the uncertainty overwhelming.
Yeah. So it's just a really uncertain year with all the injuries that's been going on. We don't really know what we're going to get, we talked about earlier, who the finals MVP is going to be.
Keith, who are the betting favorites? It's got to be Suns, right?
The betting favorites overall, repeating that, it's the Suns are minus 200. So kind of heavy favorites, which doesn't feel totally right.
So that feels like Giannis is definitely out for us.
I mean, if Giannis is going to play, these teams are even, right? We think it's like a 7-game series.
I think if Giannis plays, they would be favored. If Giannis was healthy, I think the Bucks would be favored.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Chuck. I mean, it is totally wide open. We're crowning a new champion. I mean, it feels like we're crowning a new champion. Neither one of these teams, the Suns have never won a title. The Bucks won a title a decade before I was born.
Lou Alcindor.
Yeah, so like this is so far back where it's like, you know, we're getting someone totally new, and we don't have like yes, Giannis is the MVP, but if Giannis doesn't, or a former MVP, 2-time MVP, but if he doesn't play, this is a finals where it's like, I mean, is Devin Booker a top 20 player? It's like fringe.
You ask yourself that question.
Right.
He did it. He was like a borderline all-star, you know, like we're talking replacement all-star. Like Devin Booker, I'm pretty sure has never been named an all-star outside of being a replacement. And now it's like, is he the best player? I mean, Chris Paul's a Hall of Famer, but like, as far as Chris Paul's place in the NBA, like, have we been ranking him wrong all the time where he actually is like maybe a top 15, top 10 player? I mean, he's an all NBA. He was second team all NBA this season. So you could say,
can we segue into my best and just keep talking about Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Because as I alluded to earlier, he's definitely the best thing I saw maybe all year. In that game, just an absolute execution, the type of revenge porn that I'm into. And when I say revenge porn, I said that thinking that I was talking about like a regular movie revenge porn, while forgetting that revenge porn now definitely exists.
Yeah. You meant it like, just to clear up for our listeners, you meant it like a movie.
Yeah, like a Tony Scott movie, like Rolling Thunder or like Man on Fire. And then I'd sit there and I look at Chuck's head kind of tilt like Jason Voorhees or a dog when it wants a treat.
Revenge porn is a very different thing that is absolutely wrong. We're not talking about like of someone falling down to Charles Bronson getting revenge for his murdered family.
Yeah.
It's a new term. It's all right, John. You live in the 70s, 80s.
I know.
This term didn't even exist.
But like, I think that you just begged a question that needs to be answered. Like, we have been rating Chris Paul incorrectly for years, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's like, and we've talked about on the show many times, like what a transformative player is, but like, just because that can't always be backed up with utterly dominant statistics, contextually, we should be able to surmise that he's like a top 5, top 10 NBA player.
I think this is kind of like what was going on last year with Jimmy Butler. Like, in the right circumstances, when you want like buckets and you want consistent play, you know, there are guys who are in a different tier. Like, you have the discussions of the 82 game players, the 16 game players, the 1 game players, the last quarter of a closeout game players. It's guys like Chris Paul, you know, guys like Jimmy Butler, the people that you
and that
are just built different.
That kind of spirals into the whole Devin Booker argument as well. Like, is he amongst those players, or is he more like the guy like an all-star like Chris Middleton makes it based on the strength of his really impressive regular season statistics, less so on, and maybe that's a rough pull for me.
That's not a rough pull, but based on the
Keith loves him so much, but I mean,
his performance was amazing.
He was incredible,
he's actually had good playoff performances in playoffs prior to, but he definitely hasn't hit this otherworldly spot. Like he's the type of guy where if you stick him on the Magic, he probably puts up amazing all-star worthy numbers, but he's, probably better than Chris Paul's numbers, but he's not Chris Paul.
Yeah, Middleton missed the All-Star game too. Sorry.
What's that?
I said Middleton missed the All-Star game too.
He missed
the Eastern Conference All-Stars from this year. I mean,
Middleton missed the All-Star
game? I know you have to recognize Nick Vucevic, but like no Trae Young, no Chris Middleton.
Yeah, but we all love Julius Randle.
Noob Saibot.
That is perverse.
I think there's going to be this is a finals that's just going to cement legacies in our stories about certain players forever. Like Chris Paul.
I think if the Suns win, you're right.
Yeah.
I think if the Bucks win, you are not right. I think this one will be asterisk to F.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Really? No, man, I think this will be.
No one's going to care.
Yeah,
that could be the case. Like people could forget all the circumstances.
People are gonna they're gonna be on in 20 years if the Bucks win. They're gonna be on Sporkle trying to pick who was like the leading scorer for the Bucks in the 2021 Finals. And they're like, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. How's it all Giannis Antetokounmpo? And they're gonna totally forget like he didn't play a minute.
Right.
Be, somewhere like going to the Chris Paul. Like, how do we judge him in the among all the other players when we assess the whole league? I mean, if we target end of year awards. He's been second team All NBA both of the past 2 seasons. So you can say, all right, he's recognized as the top 10 player. But it is funny when we talk about those guys who get buckets. And a lot of times we're swayed with our eye test when we see a guy who's amazing at getting a bucket. And then maybe he doesn't do everything else you need to lead to winning. And then we see all these guys who compile these huge numbers like a Luka Doncic. And we're like, well, he's putting up a 30-point triple-double basically every game. He's averaging that. And it's like, all right, so is he a top? And then you're like, oh, so he's like the 4th best player, the 5th best player, but does Chris Paul affect winning more or less than Luka Doncic? And that's why I think it's an interesting conversation to wonder. I don't actually know the answer to that. I mean, Doncic just carried Slovenia to the Olympics. Shout out to Olympic qualifiers. But it's one of those things Canada. Where it's like who affects winning more? Is it the point guard who's averaging 16 points and whatever assists he averaged this year, or is it a guy putting up 30 points and 10 rebounds, 10 assists? I don't know if the answer is always totally clear.
Right. It's just too bad that Chris Paul is black and couldn't get those Steve Nash-like MVPs. Just too bad.
I'll do my
Keith, what's your best?
Slow down, Rachel.
I'll do my best.
Private conversation, Chuck.
I'll do my best. It's very, very, very obscure. I feel like since we already opened the Noob Saibot door of this episode,
Toasty.
I found a very fun stat because I was looking back at old Bucks, like the Bucks. I don't have a memory of the Milwaukee Bucks in the 1980s. I was aware of the Lakers. I was aware of the Celtics. I was aware of the Pistons and Bulls into the decade. But the Bucks had this incredibly long run of success. They won a ton of games. And I was like, who are these guys? I know Marcus Johnson was on there, and people talk about Sidney Moncrief, but I don't really know. I don't think I've ever seen Sidney Moncrief play a basketball game. But anyway, I was rolling through all the stats of this whole Bucks team, and I'm not going to talk about a player anyone's ever heard of because why would
Harvey Catchings?
Why would I do that? I was looking at the Bucks roster from
billionaire Junior Bridgman. I'm looking at a list now. I'll stop.
No, one second.
Oh, dude, I was right. Paul McKeskey was on the Bucks. I'm so proud of myself.
One second.
Didn't mean to derail.
No, it's fine. I couldn't do my thing. So I was scrolling through the basketball reference pages, just trying to get a grasp on who some of these players were, and which ones I heard of. I'm like, oh yeah, Terry Cummings. I remember that guy. That guy was good. But I found a guy unrelated to anything. A guy named Jeff Crompton.
What? Coming straight out of huh now?
So this guy on a 55 win Bucks team in 1982. This caught my eye that he averaged 0.8 points per game while playing in 35 games. And I was like,
Woo!
you averaged under 1 point per game?
I thought you were going to talk about Brad Lowhouse, and you're bringing up this right here.
So then I went to Basketball Reference to find out, like, who are the players who have averaged less than 1 point per game and have played like over 30 games? And this is definitely not a game of scones.
Please don't. I was like, please don't make this a game of scones.
I quit the show.
Like Sindarius Thornwell averaged under 1 point per game.
I think I called out Sindarius Thornwell. Going back to Chris Paul, I think I called him out as Chris Paul's successor at one point. God help me.
Sindarius Thornwell was watching this postseason with Terrence Mann's success and being like, he was saying, that's what Doc Rivers never let me do. Maybe he's right. Thorny. But Sindarius Thornwell was like, I never got the opportunity. And he's obviously shouting out a fellow Florida State Seminole in Terrence Mann. But anyway, the player, I found this to be funny, and this is what's my best thing. There's one player in NBA history who played at least 50 games in a season while averaging less than half a point per game. I'm talking under 0.5 of a point per game while playing in 50 of his team's games. And that was one of my favorite NBA players, Andris Biedrins. Biedrins.
Yeah, I guess it gets pretty hard when you can't hit any free throws.
I don't know how you play 50 games and you don't accidentally score 4 points once and screw the whole thing
like
up.
a rebound bumps off your head.
He scored 23
and he was like 7'2", right?
Yeah, he's 7 foot. Yeah, he was over 7 feet tall, or he was about 7 feet tall, and he played 50. I think it was 51 games and scored 23 points. That feels impossible.
That's incredible.
An offensive rebound just doesn't come to you like 8 times all season.
That's like the plot to like a movie where someone kidnaps your family and tells you, like, that's the plot to one of the Beethoven movies. They've kidnapped Andris Biedrins, and they told him that he has to throw every game 50 straight games or they kill his family and his giant Saint Bernard.
Yeah. Anyway, those were our best things. The opposite of our best thing is our cream of wheat. Our cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your worst?
This is a preemptive worst. Like, I'm already like fairly upset about the moaning and groaning that I anticipate the ratings that this finals will get.
Oh, you're getting a jump on the moaning and groaning.
Yes. I'm moaning and groaning about the moaning and groaning. I'm taking a page from our Twitter account. I'm so excited about this finals. Like, and I even think the injuries are making it more interesting because I now believe either team could win. I truly have no notion of who's going to win. Not that I did before, but I don't even think I have a notion this time. And I think it's kind of sad that, like, we can't get excited about these smaller teams. Like, why that isn't, as a sports fan, it's always interested me to have these like tiny titans going at it this late in the season. But I realize that's just never going to happen. And it's just another reminder.
I feel like I'm watching these playoffs closer than I normally do.
Hell yes, man.
Like, I normally tune out when it's the big guys.
You don't get turned off by the
sameness,
by the same old of it all. Like, this is very interesting to
the first 5 years
NBA,
of our.
You have to love this. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, the first 5 years of our podcast, we had the same finals, or the first
LeBron versus Warriors.
This is absolutely thrilling. Like, I'm looking at the schedule and figuring out when I can host, green rooms with our listeners to have, like, this is fun. And usually, like Keith says, this is burnout central.
Although,
go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as the ratings conversation, I don't know anything about ratings, but I do see competing narrative arguments happening constantly. Mm-hmm. Ratings are up. And then oh no, they're counting ratings differently. Ratings are down. And all of it, I don't know how it affects anything that has to do with my life. Like, I guess if there's more ratings,
it never did.
More people will listen to the show, but I don't know I don't think our listens are tied
Probably
any
not.
success in the NBA. I mean,
the only way we would ever get more ratings having to do with the finals would, I imagine, be a strong Grizzlies presence.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Would be.
The playoffs
And then
would be
you've ruined
amazing
that with
for
Grits and
Grinds. That's right. It'd be amazing for Grits and Grinds. Yeah.
But that to me, like, I don't know. This is just a very exciting finals, and
Yeah.
And I've found myself invested in a team. It was one of those things where the bullet has to hit the bone, and for me, a white guy my age had to beat up two children, and that's what swung in my favor. And now I'm obsessed with Suns and 4 happening, and we'll be repping my Suns and 4 shirt despite a lifetime of hating Chris Paul.
I can't believe your come around to Chris Paul is kind of amazing.
I still hate Chris Paul.
Okay.
He's so annoying, but sometimes you get beaten into submission, man. You can't deny the guy. I'm not going to pull a Keith on Devin Booker thing and pretend it's not happening all over my face.
Well, I don't know why I don't have to apologize. That's what I'm saying. Like Devin Booker can win NBA Finals MVP, and I don't have to feel happy for him. Like also, it's like he defeated me. If he recognized me on the podium, fine, okay. But it's like if my nemesis wins, that's fine. That's just good.
The only way this can be worse is if Javon Carter wins MVP and wins the finals next year.
I would like that.
You have to apologize to Javon.
Hey, I gotta say, those Javon Carter people barking at me been awful quiet recently.
He's trying to take a victory lap while the Suns are about to win the title on the strength of Devin Booker's performance. Good God, John.
I'm just saying I enjoyed the run of making fun of Devin Booker. It's going to be wild. What kind of betting odds could you gotten in the preseason on a Devin Booker Finals MVP? That's absolutely staggering. Chuck, what's your worst thing?
My worst is it's Jay Crowder, man. We lost this guy's just, he can't miss finals. And also, we should have fired Pat Riley a long time ago and brought in James Jones. We're a floundering franchise compared to the Suns. Everything is looking so bright in Phoenix, no pun intended. And it's a sad, sad day that we pinned our hopes on a Giannis offseason. Could have signed Jay Crowder, could have kept Solomon Hill, 2 crucial role players in conference finals teams.
Yeah.
And that's what we were missing. That's why we got swept by the Bucks. It was Jay Crowder.
One of the great apologies we could make on the show is we did years and years of pointing out James Jones as a sleeper agent for LeBron James. He would seemingly, the Suns would trade for a guy and then buy him out so he could leave and go to the Lakers. And we were like, this James Jones guy, he goes to 7 straight finals as a player, as LeBron James's feel-good buddy on the bench. And then he gets a GM job and he's cutting all these guys for the Lakers or LeBron James's team to sign. It seemed like he was a sleeper agent, but lo and behold, he laid this groundwork. He eliminates LeBron James in the first round of this postseason, and now he's poised to win an NBA Finals with a roster that's incredibly deep. This isn't one of
James
those like
Jones is Kaiser Soze.
This isn't one of those like, oh, Rob Pelinka, GM of the year. He got LeBron James. Come on now. LeBron James came to the Lakers. This is James Jones saying, all right, I have Devin Booker. Let's get some more stuff. Let's build around this. Like we have Ayton, we have Bridges. What else can we bring in? And then finding the pieces, getting the Jay Crowder, making the trade for Chris Paul, convincing or at least building something there, having Monty Williams make this culture where Chris Paul's like, yes, I want to go play in Phoenix, and having this deep roster. Like Dario Saric has contributed on the court. Campaign was out of the NBA, like we've spelled out many, many times. Campaign
many times
is minus 20,000 for NBA Finals MVP. If you want to plus 20,000, I'm sorry, plus 20,000. That's
I'll go full Lunas, put 5 on that. Let's do it.
Yeah. Why not?
Let's ride.
Yeah, no, James Jones absolutely did it. Another player that he's ended up with, that you can give him credit. This will be my worst thing. Torrey Craig, he's on the Suns.
Take a lap, Torrey.
Torrey Craig is now on a free roll, as we call it.
Yeah.
He was on the Nuggets last year. They waived him so they could bring in Isaiah Hartenstein.
G League superstar.
And then he went to the Bucks. And then on the Bucks were like, you know what? We're going to waive you so we can bring in PJ Tucker. And then he ended up on the Suns. So now it's Bucks versus Suns in the NBA Finals. Torrey Craig wins a ring no matter what.
Are we going to get the first ever 2 revenge series in one playoffs from Torrey Craig over the Nuggets and then the Bucks? Can this happen?
Oh, wow. Yeah, in the same post.
Give it to me.
Probably we'd have to do a lot of research.
By the way, I know Torrey Craig can't make layups and stuff like that, but he has been awesome.
He's good.
Yeah.
It seems like that should be someone that the Nuggets could have found a use for. Over a big with questionable NBA skills. But anyway,
who needs lockdown defenders this day and age?
Yeah, versatile wings.
Who needs them?
Whatever.
Let's move to the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. There weren't a lot of bad shooting performances last week. There obviously weren't that many games, but still, no one really did the thing. We only have one honorable mention, Kevin Huerter, who was an honorable mention in Game 5 by going 3 for 12. Our 3 nominees were all from Game 6 of Hawks-Bucks. We had PJ Tucker, who was 2 for 10 from the field, 5 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers, 2 personal fouls. What
game is that from? Are you in honorable mentions?
No. These are our nominees, all from Game 6.
This PJ Tucker, may have to recuse myself because I spent the entire game being like, stop passing to PJ Tucker. And then he, of course, hits the 3 that ices it.
I was watching this with my nephew and my brother, and I was joking all year about how PJ Tucker hasn't really hit corner threes on the Bucks in the postseason. Right. He was under 30% on corner threes, and he keeps bricking them the entire game. It was so funny, and we were like, my nephew was very much wanted the Bucks to win. He was wearing a Giannis jersey and was really into the Bucks. And I'm cheering for the Bucks because I didn't want a Game 7 to be on Monday because I wanted to record this episode in the afternoon, not at night. But so every time he shoots,
what happens?
Every time he shoots in the second half, I'm like, oh, is this the one? Is this the one? And it never was until it was the one in the final second. So that was a deliriously fun moment. But I've purged that from my brain, as the International Stackhouse of Pancakes is just based on what is printed on the back page of the USA Today sports section.
Well, then it's a heavy favorite. It's a heavy favorite.
Only in the ink. All right, so PJ Tucker was 2 for 10. Also in that game, Kevin Huerter was 2 for 10 with 5 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, which is very sexy, 1 turnover, 2 personal fouls. And then Trae Young was 4 for 17, 14 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 5 turnovers, 2 personal fouls.
Oh, Trae
This
Young.
One's not really close. I mean, we know Trae was a gamer. He gutted it out to be available in the final game.
You mean a gamer in the traditional 40-year-old white guy sense, not in the Ben Simmons, Karl Anthony Towns playing Fortnite till dawn sense.
Video
Let's
gamer.
Clarify that.
No, he bruised his boner. And he played on that bone bruise.
Yeah, he had.
So good for. He did what he could,
but he didn't have much, and he, I believe, easily wins this week's.
I think we have Unedited, Chuck.
Stack.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 for 17.
Yeah.
Compared to some 2 for 10s.
No.
Yeah. Sorry,
different
Trae.
ballpark.
You did put up some incredible numbers. I mean, averaging 28 points and 9 assists per game throughout the entire playoff run. I think converted a lot of people who were not big Trae Young believers. I was not a big Trae Young believer before this postseason. A lot of other people. He's one of those guys. I thought it was regular season stats. I saw him be amazing in games, but didn't know he could do this.
You kind of need to see. Run. You need to see what he can do when he's not scoring to understand what a special player he is. And that's hard to do when if you're just catching a game every now and again. And honestly, I'd be in the same boat if we didn't live here and have Hawks games foisted upon us.
Yeah.
But he's just a very special player.
So
probably just special enough to get them to sign some players next year that they shouldn't.
Well, so that basically that takes us to our parfait away. Things we're looking forward to, or maybe we want to keep our eye on. One of my parfait aways is how the Hawks' success could possibly hurt them. What I mean is it's not only that thing of like, all right, we maybe
John Collins max deal is probably going to happen now.
No, that's the one. Like it's not only just that like you maybe you overachieve and then you go into next season and you're like, guys, we're same as everybody else. We're 0-0. We have to get back where we were. Like you saw the Miami Heat go from the finals last year, possibly overachieved, and then this regular season, like it's a lot harder, you know. And so, but as far as a team building exercise or like the challenge of the front office, you now have. All right, John Collins earned himself even more money. If it was a question like, hey, who's going to pay him over this Hawks offer of like 4 years, $90 million? Now it's like, okay, lots of people are going to. Do they have to pay him the max? Kevin Huerter had a not good games 5 and 6, but he still showed out in the postseason. Where now he's going to make even more money than he was probably going to make. And like you then get to that thing where keeping your stars. You know, when Trae Young's extension kicks in,
it'd be interesting.
Suddenly this team gets very, very, very expensive. Can you pay Cam Reddish? So Cam Reddish was amazing in this series when he came back. He was incredible in Game 6.
You saw 60% from 3.
Yeah, you saw the Luka Doncic trade package. You saw Trae Young and Cam Reddish be like, yeah, okay, good trade. You know, like that's worth it. But like if you pay DeAndre Hunter, if you pay Cam Reddish, suddenly you're like an ultra tax-paying team for a team that maybe peaks out as like a 6th best, 7th best team, and that's a tough place to be in.
It's weird because it's like you didn't really give an opinion, but you put out a viewpoint that maybe it'll make them make some moves that are mistakes. I think that you're like right and wrong because like I do think giving John Collins a max deal could be problematic, but I had read all year rumblings that like the Hawks were shopping Huerter and Reddish, and it's like I feel like those are bad moves. Like I'm not Schlink. I'm not an expert, you know, but I'm like these guys, you know, there's a foundation here with Hunter that you can run with. I don't know if you can afford to run with it if you have 2 guys like Trae Young and John Collins making as much money as humanly possible. But those other guys, I feel like you can fit them together. But yeah, I get that. That is something to watch.
It's just one of those monitor. Like you can basically only pay. Like, how many guys can you extend as an NBA franchise? That's one of the funny things about like what the Thunder are doing right now. Yeah. It's like if 5 of your picks, if 5 of your picks hit and you extend them, like to be like, hey, like Huerter, we're going to pay you what, $13 million a year, and then does Hunter and Reddish eventually get like 13, 14 million a year? Like with the salary cap, when one guy's if Young's making a max, if Collins is making a max, if Capella's making a bunch, you just run out of space. And it's one of those things where that is the specific challenge of you know, NBA success is getting those contracts that fit where you can still build and I guess get the success you want.
I'm not sure how savvy or charismatic a guy named Travis Schlink is, but if you're a savvy or charismatic GM, you have to be pitching as soon as the season ended. Like, we got to run it back with these guys. We got to take some. We got to we need some sweetheart deals to make this happen. You know, maybe this will finally bridge the chasm that Collins has. I think he's been offered like 80 or 90 million, and he wants, you know, the max deal. Maybe this is finally the scenario where you can come together on an agreement.
I still feel, man, I feel like someone is going to offer him a max, and I think they should. I don't know why you wouldn't. But anyway, what are you guys looking forward? What are you guys looking forward to?
So I'm like I said earlier, like this finals has me heated, has me ready to go, and I definitely want to maybe do some like halftime green rooms with our listeners at some point, probably later in the week, or as Chuck said, later in the coming weeks of this long drawn out finals. But that's an area we'd like to make a move into, and we've had a good time messing with it thus far.
Yeah, make sure you're following all of us on there. Chuck, you got something?
Yeah, I'm trying to solve this Rubik's Cube.
Oh, Chuck has held up a Rubik's Cube to the camera that no one else can see.
I'm currently working on becoming a speed cuber, so I want to learn how to do Rubik's. I've solved it like 100 times so far, but I'm trying. It took
Keith, how many Rubik's Cubes have you solved?
I would like everyone, the listener at home, to know, who does not have a video feed, when Chuck said I've solved this cube, he held up a cube that is not solved.
I mean, I'm working on my.
I understand maybe this specific cube you've done before, but when he just said I've solved this cube, he actually held up a cube that was not solved. So
Keith, how many do you have?
It's not solved yet.
Oh, I've never solved a Rubik's Cube.
Okay, so if we put Keith, if we combine our numbers, Keith,
yeah,
we're only 100 behind Chuck. We can get
so,
there.
I mean, I'm working on my bottom 2 rows right now, but basically I'm trying to get my algorithms down. You have to memorize like 18.
I think solving that Rubik's Cube is easier than solving the Hawks cap contract scenario. But I think he still has.
I don't think there are any YouTube videos that show you how to solve a cap contract situation.
Yeah.
Maybe Kevin O'Connor's done one, but I don't know yet.
Yeah, I think that's the Dunked on Prime where they cover all that.
You need to twist.
In 8 moves, we'll show you how to fix a finals team.
Danny, shut up! I'm trying to solve this cube.
Absolutely, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great series. Should we make a prediction for the series on Tuesday?
Ooh,
Suns in 4.
Suns in 4, but you don't think they're going to sweep for real, right? I mean,
if I'm not allowed to meme it up, I'm trying to embrace the memes.
A meme, yeah.
I will say Suns in 4.
Okay, all right.
I got Bucks in 6, and Chris Middleton's my Finals MVP.
Whoa!
Oh, what
Keith
a
just
dream.
unloaded.
What a dream!
Anglerfish.
I'm going to
hard.
Short my feelings. I'm going to go the other way.
I'll go Suns in 7.
Yeah, I feel like, Suns in 6, like Suns in 6
I like
is most likely.
Devin Booker MVP?
I mean, I wish Devin Booker MVP feels likely.
Yeah.
I would love it for like a weird, like can we get an Ayton? Can we get a
can we get an amen?
Jay Crowder wins.
What if Jay Crowder goes Danny Green? What if Jay Crowder goes knocking down Iguodala threes? It'd
be hard to get it out of Chris Paul's hands.
I think if you guys had to pick a player that will poop their pants and ruin their legacy forever in this finals,
Chris Paul.
Who would it be? It would be Chris Paul.
It would be Chris Paul.
I do not bet against Chris Paul. I'm not. It's not. I do not
Chris
do this.
Paul has
I don't prescribe to this.
Injured to the precipice of his dream.
Yeah,
and it feels tragic.
I will not further this.
I
will not be party to this false narrative any longer.
No, I don't know. Like are the Bucks guys? Are they going to be able to deliver how they did against the Hawks, against a Trae Young less Hawks team? I mean, you had Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton stepping up huge, and Brook Lopez playing amazing. But even still, you saw the Bucks offense fall apart at times. Like Drew and Chris were turning the ball over a crazy amount. Like they were really struggling.
The Suns are a much better team than the Hawks. This is going to be hard to do.
The Suns are a way better defensive team. Like not even in the same realm. You saw the Nets and the Hawks give the Bucks offense fits at times.
Yeah.
The Suns are in a whole different league defensively of those guys. I just talked myself into maybe a Suns in 5.
Come on, get down one more.
No, I'm gonna go Suns in 6, and my nemesis Devin Booker will be the first one to speak after, of course, Robert Sarver gets the mic. By the way, have you guys read the Robert Sarver eulogy speech?
I can't believe we didn't make the whole show about it.
Then man,
we kind of messed up.
You gotta, everyone out there, go to truehoop.com and read.
Chuck, read up and be ready to make it the vocal point of the show next week.
Read the speech that Robert Sarver gave to one of his friends, where again, it just highlights the differences between billionaires and the rest of us. Like, it's the most startling, offensive thing. But part of me wonders, like, just for a family that is like the family from Succession, maybe that's just what people say at a funeral. Like, maybe that's just how people talk to each other. It's pretty amazing. Go check out the True Hoop. I don't know. Google Sarver eulogy. Robert Sarver, Suns owner eulogy.
It's scandalous.
It's scandalous. It's hilarious, and he'll never be canceled because you can't cancel people that wealthy. Anyway,
Absolutely.
if you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Make sure you follow us over on Green Room, all of our individual accounts, Instagram, Fast Break Break, Twitter, Fast Break Break. If you're going to a sporting event, you want $20 off your tickets and you're not a SeatGeek user, well, sign up with SeatGeek and use promo code FastBreakBreak. You get $20 off your ticket. Anyway.
Chuck has been frenetically and passionately trying to solve that Rubik's Cube, trying to get it done before
I
the
made
end
it
of the
worse.
show, and he couldn't
I made
do
it worse.
Yeah,
I made it worse.
And I'm also gonna have to edit out the Rubik's Cube's noises. Right? It's gonna be great. But anyway, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening, and remember, breakfast is the most important thing.